we need a thread in this pipe on the inside, so I got a 3/8 thread cutter. Kind of put some oil on. Some cutting oil. Put this in. So now what you have to do is keep it totally straight, or not straight necessarily, but at least parallel to your workpiece. If your workpiece is off, I guess your cutter has to be off, right? So then you start cutting, and there's no thread in there yet. As it starts cutting, as you turn this around with two hands on these handles, you start cutting, and you go in, and maybe you look at it from different angles and different sides. You cut and you think you're good. And there's a hole in this pipe already, so you would assume that your thread cutter straightens itself out eventually. So as you can see here, obviously I'm over exaggerating, but you can see that this is absolutely not straight. Here, take it out, take it back in, see it runs. I'm not going all the way, and there's really no point, but as you can see here, this is obviously not straight. If you put enough cutting oil on and you put enough force in, you probably can just run this right through and outside the wall of the pipe. So this obviously is over exaggerating, but if you're off by 1 degree or like half a degree, whatever you're gonna screw in, and however long the other piece is, obviously the more you're gonna see it. If it's only a really short piece, you'll really see 1 degree or something if it's really straight or a little bit off. But if your piece is really long and it's off by 1 degree, you can really see the difference. So I can get it on pretty good, but really not straight. But I got a better solution, and I gotta bring you over to the drill press again, and I show you how I found is a good way. Alright, I'm back here on the bench grinder. Actually, I cut this end off that we actually threaded earlier, and I want to make sure that this is actually really square. That's crucial in the end, because this is where our thread goes, and then our 3/8 rod. So make sure it's square this way, right? And what I'm trying to do is get my other square. Just gonna hold it here so I know. Hopefully it's a square this way and it's square that way, so it's gonna get loud again. Okay, not too bad. This probably can still be dressed up a little bit later. So now the first thread we did was a little bit off. If you look close, you could see the rod actually being a little bit at an angle. So the thing is, with these cutters, you put them in, and if you're in a slight angle, if you start it off a little bit, I mean, I'm over exaggerating, it will go, and it will go in an angle, and it will keep going in this angle. So once you thread in your rod or your screw or whatever the heck, you just fix something on the motor, or you name it, your screw will be in like this. So this, we don't want this. We need this really to be in straight, really straight down. And actually I found a good way to do this also on my drill press, so I'm gonna bring you over there and then we go from there. Let me show you. Alright, here the drill press, now you want the table in the center with the hole. This obviously has a hole in the bottom. So you go in here, this is the good side that we just ground. Get this in here, tighten it so it straightens itself out. Or if you mess it up, we can repolish it, or as we cut a piece off, cut a piece off and go deeper. So now you want to make sure that this is on as well. Don't bend it too much. Don't bend it at all if you can. Tighten it. So then again, put your trusty board on just to span the imperfections on the table, and lock it down with the clamp so they won't move too much anymore. Open it. Gonna take your table down. So we know this is straight. Now get your cutter in. The thread cutter. So with some luck we know this is straight. So, and actually I disconnected the belt and from the motor so I can spin this easy by hand. So we go up, try to center it right in there. So lock the table in place. So hopefully it won't move sideways a lot anymore. And I'm just pushing down. Spin this by hand. Oops. It's a little bit tighter. Alright, so now we just roll it back here and we just now keep cutting. You get the idea. Actually here I put some cutting oil on. Okay. Tighten this this up a little bit. For some reason they come loose all the time. It's alright. I'm not using them that often. I'm going all the way in as far as I can. Okay, that's it. Bottomed out. So I can inspect this. If the drill chuck did some damage, I would just cut half an inch off if there's damage, and then keep drilling in. don't lose your started thread, because that actually guides you down this pipe. And now I'm going to put this in. It's still loose, there's nothing we can do about it. Even though it's in so much, it's going to be in an inch or so. Let's see, it's just a sloppy thread. It's not a metric, it's not a fine thread. I bet you it's rated than the one I did by hand. Alright, so this is how I do it on my drill press. I'm sure there's better ways out there, other ways, machines that do it for you. We don't have those. So I'm going to make this now into a knife. I'm going to allow for maybe 1.5 inches, however deep the thread in the pipe is. I got to measure it out. This will be the thread that's in the pipe, and then I need some extra, and then the rest of it will be the blade. I'm going to grind it down here on the belt sander or belt grinder, and then I'm going to harden it. And I'm not sure if I polish it right away, but just for show and tell. So this is what's going to happen next. I mean, you can imagine me just going back and forth. I don't have to show that, and we'll pick it up later. Okay, what I did here is I put this wooden block here. I screwed this piece of 3/8 rod in the other half, so that this is going to be the handle, and in the end the reason for the block is because if I'm on my metal stop down here, my metal work surface on the handle, there will be this gap here. Now I line this edge up with kind of the edge of the sandpaper, which allows me to leave this down straight, solid, and go into the sandpaper. I don't think I want to go further than I taped it up here. Later, we're probably going to lose this anyway, because I don't want to get my blade sucked into the gap here, and then it messes this up. So the goal is, I guess, on one side, I guess where the sharp edge is, just at least get all the thread off. And this is then where you really want your sharp edge already, more or less, because then once you screw it into the other end, the other half, you don't want the sharp edge scraping down into in the sheath, for example, and the top you take off a little bit more, so you have some clearance. Just making a couple of sparks. This is 60 grit, and I'm thinking I'm going then down from 60 down to 400, and then 1000. And this is a 2 horsepower motor, one phase, so it runs on 110 volts, so it'll get noisy. I'm gonna stop talking and switch it on. Alright, as you can see, the block is gone already. This is what I got done with the 60 grit. I decided I go down to 120 and probably 400 and 1000. Okay, that's what the used 120 did to it. There's still some teeth showing here from the rod. Now I'm going down to, I got a brand new 400 in there now, so I'm not really looking for shaping it a lot. I'm gonna cut this top edge off here, make it a little bit shorter, maybe in a nice angle, and sharpen it as well. But you know, now we got the 400 and later we got the 1000, so you keep losing material. Eventually this is getting shorter and shorter. This stays the same thickness most likely, and you keep grinding down your cutting edge. So I'd rather start early, so there's still imperfections here. When I'm done with the 400, they are probably gone, and then with the 1000 I kind of more polish it, and then this will be gone as well. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, that's what the used 120 did to it. There's still some teeth showing here from the rod. Now I'm going down to, I got a brand new 400 in there now, so I'm not really looking for shaping it a lot. I'm gonna cut this top edge off here, make it a little bit shorter, maybe in a nice angle, and sharpen it as well. But you know, now we got the 400 and later we got the 1000, so you keep losing material. Eventually this is getting shorter and shorter. This stays the same thickness most likely, and you keep grinding down your cutting edge. So I'd rather start early, so there's still imperfections here. When I'm done with the 400, they are probably gone, and then with the 1000 I kind of more polish it, and then this will be gone as well. Alright, let's get to it.